So you've done two agree disagree questions here, and your strategy in both is to write two paragraphs agreeing or disagreeing, and I agree with you that that is the best way of approaching those questions. What is your approach to a positive negative question?
For example, is it a positive development or negative development?
So how many paragraphs would you write?
Actually, there will be three paragraphs, one for, other for against, one for conclusion, plus introduction.
Well, I would recommend that you approach questions which ask if this is a positive or negative development in the same way as a to what extent question.
Okay, to what extent you agree? Okay.
In other words, you can write two paragraphs about it being positive or two about it being negative.
Okay.
Now, if that is difficult, and depending on the question, it might be difficult to think of enough different ideas, you could write about different aspects
Of positive.
So for example, there is a question about whether online shopping is a positive or a negative development. Actually, the question is about whether online shopping, the fact that online shopping is replacing traditional stores, is this a positive or negative development? And one valid way of responding is to say, yeah, it is positive for consumers, but negative for traditional shops or shop owners. That would be a perfectly coherent position. And the thing about these questions is that very often they are asking you to decide whether the advantages for aspect A outweigh the disadvantages for aspect B. So you might end up saying it is advantageous for the economy, but it's disadvantageous for individuals and families. And to me, it is not logically possible to say that one outweighs the other. How can you logically state that the advantages for children learning about animals outweighs the disadvantages for animals of being kept in zoos? You're comparing apples and oranges. So for example, if the question is about whether the advantages of using Facebook outweigh the disadvantages, can you still see my screen, by the way?
Yeah, I can see.
Then I might use a phrase like this: it is advantageous for whatever, provided that, this is maybe not about Facebook, this might be about using technology. It is advantageous provided that they use it wisely and don't waste it doing whatever. So to me that is a coherent position. In other words, I would say that you can get some real benefit from using computers, but of course the disadvantages are that they're going to spend their time using Facebook and computer games. And so this fantastic phrase here, provided that, is a great way of answering the question. So the other one that I referred to earlier to you was about zoos. So they may be advantageous for education and children and maybe conservation of some species. But of course the disadvantages of zoos is that animals may be kept in terrible conditions. So I use the phrase provided that. And by doing that, honestly, Balu, is the only way I can think of answering that question. Or rather, the advantages the advantages for education outweigh the disadvantages for the poor animals. It's logically impossible to make that statement.
Yes. Yeah.
It's an unjustifiable statement. So I think provided that is really a magic word. Opposite is the case. The consequences of improved medical care is that people are living longer.
And life expectancy is increasing.
Do you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Well, who do the advantages of this development apply to?
To the senior citizens?
Well, yeah, to individuals, you and me.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, because most people would be quite happy to if given the choice of living for 10 years longer, most people would say yes. So who do the disadvantages apply to?
To us only.
Well, I don't think so. I think when it comes to disadvantages, you're talking about the state. So old people are a burden to the state.
Oh, states, okay.
They don't pay much in taxes. Apart from VAT, which they can't avoid. You know, they do have to buy things. They get state pensions. Depending on the country, they require
medical assistance.
In England, you get free bus passes. You can't use the trains for free, but you get a free bus pass if you're an old age pensioner, which my parents make good use of. They are now in their 90s. So the advantages, how can you say that the advantages for the individual outweigh the disadvantages for the state? To me, it is logically impossible. So the advantages outweigh the disadvantages for individuals and families, but the opposite is the case for the country's budget. So I think that is a fantastic way
position.
Of answering the question. And honestly, Velu, it took me a long time to come up with this formula.